started and then.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. My apologies. We have Counselor Hogan, Counselor Caldwell, myself, Counselor Allen, and Counselor Jen Schultz. All right, thanks.
Okay. I'm Jen Tift. I'm the Director of Strategic Initiatives for the city. So this is in regard to what we're calling the Digital Empowerment Program. And really, this program, there are several other communities in the country that are doing similar programs, but really the intent is to really help residents, across all of the neighborhoods of the city, better access and utilize the internet for, all of the different benefits that we all know it can provide, whether it's working from home, education from home, applying for jobs, the whole 9 yards. We know from research that honestly, the lack of digital literacy is a major barrier to being able to utilize those tools, in addition to actually, affordable internet service and affordable devices. So really, this program is a technical assistance program that enables us to help residents, if they need to, identify a low-cost internet provider or a low-cost device, but really attack that third thread in particular, which is focused on digital literacy. So the program, when we first started talking with you all, we were thinking we might place digital navigators directly within several of the community centers, and those individuals would be hired by and supervised by those centers. Since then, we've had conversations with, I think, many of you and a couple of the other counselors who aren't here today, just with some concerns about some of the current capacity of a couple of the centers, and maybe this is not the right time to add another program for them to administer. So in working with Brian Fay at the Northeast Community Center, which really has been the lead agency that conceptualized and designed this program for our community, they are willing to essentially take full accountability for administering the program across the city. So in that case, they would still be our subrecipient, but rather than provide funding to some of those other centers to do some of the hiring and program management, they would essentially do the hiring, all the program management and administration for the program, still placing individual navigators within the neighborhood. So I think one key feature of the program, which hasn't changed, is we do want to place people geographically within the areas of the city where we know we have the biggest need. But there will be flexibility in the program, to have those folks placed, maybe at a community center, maybe at a library, maybe at a church. It kind of will depend on, where the needs are, where there's classroom space, if they're going to hold a class, for example, and that sort of thing. So that's kind of the current plan with the revised letter that was received by everyone, hopefully. And Brian can obviously get into all of the nitty-gritty in terms of how the program works, but that's the idea in a nutshell.
Okay, so would each person, will they be designated to one particular community center, or will they be cross-trained to be able to deal with different communities?
I'll let Brian answer that.
Thank you. Yes, that's the second option. What we're looking to do is, rather than place them directly in one community center where they're going to stay, this would provide them, we would hire them all through Syracuse Northeast Community Center and have them be mobile throughout the community in different places, such as, all the different community centers, Southwest, Huntington, Westcott, Northeast, and so on. Also be able to travel to locations where they've found a need, where someone contacts and says, well, wait a minute, we have this group of people who need something. Then we can send 1, 2 navigators, depending on how you need to, and respond to those situations. Further, trying to build up sort of, I think what we would imagine is having each navigator think of an area of the city in which they would want to focus, and we would split the city into the 4 quadrants and really be thinking about that, but not binding them to those 4 quadrants, have them be able to work together and cover the city all as one.
Okay, and with this new method, so I know originally there were like 4 centers that were named.
Yes.
And I know some of the counselors had an issue with that we were only picking like those particular centers. But with this new method, this would be open to all community centers within the city of Syracuse, correct?
We would be able to serve all of those centers by sending a navigator to them.
Okay.
So, I have a question. I'll just add that Brian also has been, again, he's the architect of this model, really conscious of communities where English is not a second language, so he'll be looking to have a really diverse number of individuals. I think we're hiring 4. Mm-hmm. Yep, hiring 4 to make sure that we can meet the needs culturally as well as language as well. What community recently did you graduate a class of individuals?
So we just had a group of individuals through Interfaith Works in Syracuse Northeast who are Arabic speaking, who graduated a digital navigator program that was a pilot funded through Spectrum. So we do a lot of work in that way.
So with the money that is request, how many units of computers or tablets do you think you're going to be able to purchase with that?
Under the new funding, a great deal more. One of the things that was identified in the first proposal was a need to be able to purchase more machines for people. I would expect, I'm blanking on the numbers off the top of my head, but I would suspect it's more than several hundred. I believe we could do about 400 or 500 in there. And what we'll be using is we'll use the same model that we've used under the Spectrum program and a couple other programs that we've seen nationally where it's an inexpensive device. And a lot of people will say, well, wait a minute, that's underpowered, but it's a big enough device where the screen is large enough that you can do actual work on it, such as applying for jobs, learning English, doing all the sorts of things that you need to be doing, but it's not so expensive that it's a great loss if it gets damaged. I used to work in schools and technology gets damaged pretty easily, so.
Are you thinking about Chromebooks?
Yeah. Yep.
So you just said 400 to 500 devices?
I believe, I would need to go back to the numbers and make sure I get that right.
But
so.
just ballpark, only because the legislation says 300 unduplicated individuals. So why do you have more devices than people? Or if you
That's
up them
why I
or-
would want to check the numbers exactly to make sure. I think that we've budgeted, I'm pretty sure we budgeted for exactly what we could think of, plus a few more, because we know that we're going to need a few more than what we individually do.
So if people have their own devices and want to come and learn,
Yep.
you
Many more
take them
people.
as well?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And there's no income guideline for
No,
this?
there is not for this.
Are you guys, you're doing the Chromebooks, are you doing like hotspots too for when they leave? Because a lot of people don't have internet access at home,
So that was another thing that came out of the Interfaith Works and Northeast project. We distributed 10 of the MiFi spots. There's also setups where you can get those through the county library. You can rent them, basically not rent, but you can borrow them. And there are many other places. We're also talking with Cricket, who has provided low-cost or no-cost cell phone use, to which you can always connect a machine to your cell phone's hotspot.
Did you use Chromebooks for your classes?
The class that just led, yes, absolutely, and they were actually really good. I checked with our instructor, and she was very pleased. All the students who performed in that were really pleased. Oh, wait a minute, I'm referring to the summer program that we ran, but we also used them in the Interfaith Works Northeast co-project. Those were ones that went home with the individuals, and they've been very, very popular.
Have you thought about, just a suggestion, with the older population, the seniors, for tablets instead of computers?
Yeah, so one of the things that, so for example, at Westcott Community Center, they have a lending library of iPads, and iPads are a really good option for them. Again, only issue with that is that they are a little pricey if you get the most modern or the most recent, but a lot of times you can get an older model or refurbished. There are also Android tablets that aren't quite as user-friendly that we've tried to stay away from. Yeah, we're looking at that. One of the things that the program coordinator will be doing is looking at all the technology, and we're going to have a constant review of the technology with a lot of survey evidence from each participant in how is this machine used, who's using it in your family, how effective has it been, what tasks have you accomplished.
And these are loaners, the equipment?
I don't see the devices as mostly loaners. There will be some loaners. Most of the facilities we've chosen have loanable devices, including our location. These would be the devices meant to be given to the participants who participated in the program, shown a willingness to show up to the program, because again, having a borrowed machine is kind of like having a borrowed car. It's not a reliable, sustainable system going forward. With the price of these machines at about $250, it's not an extraordinary cost, and it's an investment that grows the program.
So what's the requirement for them to actually get the device? So you have to, is there a certain amount of appointments that you have to show up to or sessions that you have to show up to and then they get the device to take home?
Yeah, we haven't narrowed that down exactly, and a lot of that's going to be based on the experience of the instructors and the people who are orchestrating this project, the coordinator. It'll be similar to what we've done in these pilot projects where we've set a engagement sort of expectation, and then as people have done that, we've given them the device to take home. We haven't set the exact metrics for this program because, again, I want to build it with the people who are going to know that information and already be working with the people in the positions of need.
We're not proposing to you a Chromebook giveaway program.
Right.
Yes, and I will say, I was present with some of that at schools, again, where devices were just given willy-nilly. No, this is a program where we want to make sure that people are going to utilize devices. It's a limited supply. We don't have endless supply of devices. These will be people who need it, who are going to use it, and who are going to return to the program.
So what's the minimum age? Because I know a bunch of 6-year-olds that's very smart. They can use technology, but adults may not view them as responsible enough to take the device home.
Mm-hmm.
So are you guys going to limit the age, or is it something where the parents have to agree that the child can have it?
Mm-hmm.
How's that going to work?
Our plan at the moment is to work primarily with adults because the Syracuse City School District is going to primarily serve the youth. They've shown themselves able to distribute some technology and work with youth in that way. If we come across, as we did in our program, the pilot program, where there's a family that has a younger person who's ready to take this on, we had a 15-year-old who was just ready to take that next step and was also able to teach cousins and other family members. We provided them with a Chromebook. That was a special case. I would imagine this being a primarily 18, adults service.
Okay.
Now, one other question. How do you plan on getting the information out throughout the whole city?
Well,
this?
yeah, that's a great question. In a lot of ways, we're going to do it the way we've done our supported employment program. And a lot of that is word of mouth, but it's not just simply waiting for people to hear about us. It's going out, working with the people who are coming in for pantry, coming in for basic needs diapers, people who are coming in for congregate meals as seniors, working with all of those people in the neighborhood. We have, through the community centers, people who have strong contacts through the neighborhoods. I have 2 staff members who've lived in the neighborhood and worked in the neighborhood. Well, they've worked at the center for over 22 years. They know people, they know that. The way that we encouraged the population for the pilot program, Abdubasit Asali, who's our community health, he's our health connector and also a neighborhood advisor. He has a wide variety of clients that he initially recruited, and then through the program, that one of the aspects of the program is who else needs this service? Who else needs this? There'll also be a large social media campaign that will be running ongoing. We keep that going, keep people running with that. There will be events at community events. We will be tabling. We will be getting this out there every way we possibly can, and also trying to get it out not just in one center, but throughout the community at all these different events.
So will you pilot with other community centers and programs and sites that say this is what you're going to kick off, and would you have a meeting so that the community centers know, so when they're doing intakes that they could say, hey, this person might be a good referral to you? Mm-hmm. There's several community center organizations, churches that do intakes when their families come in. So are you going to do a day where you say, hey, we're launching this and these are going to be our 4 sites, but we want everyone to be a part of it. Mm-hmm. So
Yeah, we're not going to have 4 sites.
You're going to have 1 site before.
He's going to coordinate it.
I'm going to have.
And we're going to make the information available to
all
everyone.
4. Okay.
For
Anybody. Okay. And they're going to be housed everywhere.
So what we're going to do, they'll be housed right here at Northeast Community Center, and they'll be working out of Northeast Community Center, and they will be traveling. So what I imagine is there will be an office at Northeast Community Center. I expect that I'm not going to see 4 navigators there very often at all. There's a lot of mileage money built into this. They're going to be out in the community. And again, very similar to our supported employment program. My supported employment specialist, she's in the building 14 hours a week at most, and that's just because she only has that small quadrant. These are going to be dispersed throughout the city. They're going to come together in that space to coordinate the team effort, but they're going to mostly be out there doing the work in the different community places. To your other question, though, about how are the other centers going to know about it, one of the beauties of having developed this over the last year is all of the community centers know about this. You know, I work in the Syracuse Community Center Collaborative with Westcott, Huntington, and Southwest, and they know all about this. Dunbar, I've worked with them on this, La Liga, everybody knows what's going on, Interfaith Works. We've been communicating on this, and we're all itching to get into this work. So there are people who are ready to say, okay, we have this community that needs this, send us your person, let's get to work.
We can also distribute through our CDBG networks. We got listservs all over the place that we can, pastor, clergy listserv, we can get it out that way as well. When he was talking, I was thinking, think about the model on Point for College. They would have staff just go to various different places to make sure people came in. They would go to some places more often than other places because the need was greater. But if there wasn't a lot of individual interaction of people seeking the service, they would move on to another location. I think this model, through the conversation with you all, gives us a lot more flexibility to be fluent and flexible in where we're going to be.
No, I agree. I just want to know, like, what collaborations have you already did besides those, the buildings that you mentioned? You know, I just wanted to make sure that all of the community was, you know, going to be a part of it. But no, I agree.
Great.
Counselors, I talked to Mary Lou Sales, who's the director of Huntington, and serves with you on the collaborative and everything else. And I guess it's just a situation of scheduling space in a lot of these different centers as far as that goes. So I commend you all for changing this, and this will be part of the supplemental agenda. We'll have
Yes.
legislatively.
Yeah, the information was provided to the clerk's office.
Okay,
Yeah.
because okay, good, that's good. So I mean, the flexibility, I commend you on your flexibility here, because I think it's like Councilor Caldwell and Councilor Allen Schultz says, it's really important to be able to be flexible on something like
And you
this.
should be confident in Michael's ability to administer it.
I'm Brian,
Brian.
but that's okay. Everyone does that. I don't have the beard, and I lack several inches.
Nothing like Michael Collins.
Well,
I
you
don't know
know,
why I said that.
that's all right.
You should be confident in his ability to run the program.
All right.
Thank you.
Other
Any more
questions?
Okay.
Thank you
Any
very
other
much.
questions? No?
Thank you, Councilor
Okay.
Allen, for bringing this up. Councilor Caldwell.
Thank
All right. Thank you, guys.
Sir Hogan? It was right here. It is, but if you need one, counselor, you know I always have.